I mean, my first real kind of big 7th Avenue job was at Bill Blass. And he was doing really well, and they wanted to start like an inexpensive dress line. And that was an amazing experience because it was really working with like the best fabric mills and developing fabric and starting a suit line and starting a tie line and kind of, I mean, back then it was like, there was no expense, just whatever you need to do, do. You know, if you have to go to Scotland to find the heather tweeds, you know, go to Scotland. You know, I loved working there, and he was like a real kind of old school master. And he was also brilliant at, I mean, the one thing about all these guys, like Perry Ellis and Calvin and Blass, is they were just kind of, they were their brand. You know, they were there, they kind of lived it and breathed it. So it was amazing to be around that. Informed my illustration and you know, how I see things, and so it's just it's a good mix. Perry Ellis and Ralph Lauren were the first real kind of designers to start doing menswear in a big way. And there's a whole new generation since that of like guys who, back then it was like, if the man's going to go shopping, there's going to be a woman dragging him into the store reluctantly to do it. There are guys going into stores now, you know, to shop, to make their own choices. And they're much more educated. You know, there are magazines and there's stuff on the internet. I mean, all of that stuff has completely changed the way guys shop. And I think that's, you know, that's why menswear has been doing so well. That's why there's so many opportunities, because guys are just much savvier about it. Even as a really young kid, I just had a sense that there was like a really big world out there. And that always kind of made me hungry to, like, you know, to draw and to look. I think for some people outside of this country or outside of New York, it represents New York. You know, it represents that kind of expression that people have with clothes. And I think that, I mean, I was saying before, there's so much stuff that's on computers now. I think people really respond to the fact that it's done by hand. You know, that there's like a real sketchy, hand, spontaneous quality to it. An illustrator is able to kind of exaggerate a shape in a way that I think photography can't, or without. I mean, photography can, but you need a lot of devices to go around it. Basically, you know, it's a piece of blank paper and a pencil. I mean, I can kind of elongate, I can stretch, I can make the weight. You know, I can kind of manipulate things very quickly that I think photography can. What's amazing also, and another reason why I wanted to do this, to do the blog, was the people I see on the street are so well put together. You know, it's like amazing. Because there's a thought process there, and they're thinking like, you know, I want to wear this, I want to put this together, and that's, you know, that's great. But it really started just, I was sitting in Starbucks one morning over here on Greenwich Avenue, and all these people kept coming in, and they looked great. You know, it's an area of like people that are art directors, and, you know, creative people, and advertising, and, you know, the people that really kind of put it out. So I thought, why not, you know, record this? And there are people doing it with pictures, which is great. I mean, I love, there's some amazing blogs out there, but you know, I think kind of illustrating it brings a different thing to the table. Partially because I understand the details, you know, I understand how garment's made, I understand, you know, kind of how the fabric drapes, and what's important in a garment. So all of that kind of goes into the sketch. But like when I see people on the street in something that I can tell they really love and they really just feel great about it, I mean, I love kind of trying to capture that. I mean, from designing, like on that vest, the pockets, the besom pockets, I mean, I love sketching stuff like that. Because that to me, especially I'm in menswear, it's just like such, like great detailing. And I really, I mean, I think maybe someone who didn't have a design background wouldn't focus in on that. But I love picking up on those details. And even like on the toggle coat, I love the stitching around the toggle fastening. You know, those little details, because for years I did flats, you know, where I did like quick sketches to give to a pattern maker and say, you know, I want a quarter stitch here, you know, I want a foot stitch there. So I had to really, you know, that was an important part of it. And I love to add that because it just kind of like gives the sketch a crispness, you know, like an identity. And I mean, it's amazing to kind of go through this complete circle of coming here to start illustrating and then designing for so many years, kind of getting that under my belt, and then coming back to this. You know, and I'm like thrilled and amazed at the response to the work. It's like this whole new thing.